Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Pilgrims Passport. All right, I want to dive right into this segment today by showing you a few archaeological discoveries. Some very genuine, others are facsimiles. This here is a bronze pruta during the time of Alexander Jannaeus, and it was struck in Jerusalem, and it was discovered that it was 103 to 67 BC age-wise, and this here is I call it Exhibit A, as a verification of history and biblical integrity as well. Next one we have is original pottery from the Second Temple. There you have it. And I purchased this at the Israel Museum. I don't think these are much available anymore. I don't think. But wow, I'm glad I got it when I did. And this one here is the famed discovery at Caesarea by the Sea. In 1961, our guide, Mika Ashkenazi, was a part of the dig, and they discovered this stone that verified, at least historically, the existence of Pontius Pilate, because here Pontius Pilate dedicates this to the Emperor Tiberius. So that's an interesting thing. And then, last but not least, we come to the Rosetta Stone. Now, of course, obviously, this isn't the size of the Rosetta Stone, but there it is. And it's funny. There were those, for example, one interpreter glanced at the Rosetta Stone, whose hieroglyphic inscription was then still undeciphered, and instantly announced its meaning. He said that quick decipherment enabled him to avoid the systematic errors which invariably arise from prolonged reflection. Basically, what he was saying is you get better results by not thinking too much. But Champollion, he resisted these ideas. He was a brilliant guy. And he, through the aid of a brilliant insight by English physicist Thomas Young, he proceeded something like this, and he discovered that Europeans, largely ignorant of Arabic, called Rosetta stone. It was a slab from an ancient temple displaying what seemed clearly to be the same message in three different writings. And Champollion deduced that it was in ancient Greek, and that the stone had been inscribed to commemorate the coronation of Ptolemy Epiphanes in the spring of 196 BC. And then the Greek text mentions Ptolemy many times. And then there were those hieroglyphics that unlocked the meaning forever of language. Demotic in Greek and hieroglyphic in the middle. So this here unlocked the meaning of history in many, many ways. And so I present these things simply as a tool to nail down the true nature of history. Much of the world denies, for example, that there ever was a temple in Jerusalem. That's recent, because back in 1935 and onward, all Islamic scholars agreed that there was a temple, but something changed after the year 2000, and then they begin to deny it. And you can hear the owner of the Temple Mount, the guy who runs the Temple Mount, basically said, "We are not interested in what was, but we are interested in what is now." That's a unique view of history, but you know, a lie makes itself, goes around the world twice before truth even gets its boots on. And so it takes careful analysis to ferret out these things and realize, oh, you know what, there's something to this guy. There's something to history. And finally, last but not least, Dead Sea Scrolls. And lo and behold, in 1947, an Arab Bedouin kid was chucking some stones in a cave, and he heard something break. And long story short, it was the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they were just amazing discoveries. And these here absolutely, totally verify a lot of the scriptures. For example, the book of Isaiah, that's here, in here, was shown to be almost exactly like in our English Bibles. It's an amazing discovery. No wonder people don't want for these kind of things to get out. See, there's a certain view amongst liberal Christians that anything supernatural can't possibly be true. So they call it the anti-supernatural presupposition. And so that's the box they close themselves in. And so anything they deem as a miracle, well, they just simply redate it. Redact, redate, whatever. And much to their own peril. I've always said, and I'll say it again, a liberal Christian is an oxymoron. There can be no such animal that calls themselves a Christian that denies the very tenets of the faith. Be that as it may, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they have been over and overly investigated, and it simply shows that we have a lot of the Bible written in here just as it was back then. So again, I present these things to you not as a controversy, but just to simply bulk up the faith, some of you, that you need it. Believe me, there's a big anti-Christian atmosphere in our country lately, and it had been since the 1960s onward. And it's difficult to go to any colleges now. Even the great colleges of Britain and in America, they once were Christian colleges. Princeton is another example. And but they have gone the way of every dark civilization. I say, England was the place God used to dwell. And I think America is getting fast to that. And I don't see much hope for the future, but then again, what do I know anymore? Yeah, really. I have no idea what God intends to do with this country. But Billy Graham once said, if God doesn't judge America, he's going to have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. I kind of agree with that. All right, well, I hope you like this little tidbit today, and we'll get back to you real soon.